am Doomsvince. This is day 142 of Spawn Year.
I have many regrets in my life, and the things I wish I could take back are the reasons I am in this place. I have spent countless hours here contemplating the implications of my past mistakes, and well before Doomsvince's list of arbitrary rules made that mandatory. The main characteristic that has made it so difficult for me to relate to Spawn is his stubbornness, his constant refusal to own up to his mistakes and recognize that he is to blame not just Malbolgia for the situation he finds himself in after life. I have plenty of contempt toward the devil I made my deal with too, but I was the one who drank all that Mountain Dew and fell into a coma, and I was the one who took my work so seriously, worked such unnecessarily long hours, and ignored my family, that I became so caffeine dependent in the first place. Doomsvince, again, assuming somehow this is the real Doomsvince, it certainly seems that way after his reveal of Vince 1.2, has his own personal grudge against me, but he is only the means by which the consequences of my poor choices are playing out. I've seen Spawn as something of a kindred spirit, as we are both manipulated by dark forces because of the crimes we committed in life, and I've wished that he might somehow become more enlightened, more sobered, and finally work to better himself. And by the end of the third season of the animated series, he has unequivocally done that. The episode resolves the major season threads: Jade coming to hunt Spawn and turning away from Heaven to be with him, Chief Banks trying to murder Twitch and conspiring with Wynn, and the prophecy of the child of the Hellspawn coming to pass after Spawn's terrible indiscretion. And as these strands are all completed, the episode provides a naturally formulated, comprehensive discussion of how individuals deal with regret. Wonderfully, this is ultimately what separates Spawn from the pack and makes him worth watching. He finally allows his regrets to sink in and makes the conscious decision not to be the kind of man he once was. He's finally on a real path toward redemption. Cagliostro tells him that he has unwittingly helped Malbolgia fulfill a prophecy, that the child of the Hellspawn would decide the final outcome of the battle between heaven and hell. Now, as I've made abundantly clear before, I'm not the biggest fan of prophecies, as they tend to muddle character motivations, sometimes helping writers cheat in not having to make their characters look like real people. They do things, or they are important because of destiny. The comic has this very problem. Destiny versus choice can be an interesting battle to play out through narrative, but it can't be a crutch to explain inconsistent characterization. I don't know how this seed of the Hellspawn plot will play out in future episodes, and I've certainly seen this unborn child as the key to everything story time and again. I'm reminded especially of Xena Warrior Princess, but it serves a great function for the purposes of this season, as it's a direct consequence of one of the worst acts we've seen Spawn commit, and because he did it in the dark pursuit of his own desire. His wife, who he knew he could never be with again. Realizing he is solely responsible for jump-starting Armageddon, his goals quickly begin to change. Spawn finally uses his guilt as motivation to better himself, as he began doing last episode when he takes Terry's place to be tortured by Wynn. Jade tells Spawn to find a way to use the Shroud for good, to shake the balance between the two sides that are more the same than different, both ruthless in the pursuit of victory, despite one side calling itself heaven. So Spawn uses his cloak to help someone else alleviate their guilt, Granny Blake, and in her case, it's an unwarranted guilt. Granny feels bad for living so many years past her husband Jack, as I imagine many older people who outlive their spouses feel, and Spawn lets her see Jack's spirit, who tells her it isn't her time yet, that he hears her talking to him each night, and that she has nothing to be sorry about. Considering Jack is probably in heaven and Spawn's powers come from the other place, it's hard to buy or understand that he can do this, but it is a touching scene and a very different, subtle move for Spawn. The important thing is that I believe in Spawn's commitment to change, and I do. Though all of this is somewhat hurried, I'm not sure why Granny Blake was only just introduced last episode, and also rushed is Jade's death. Heaven's bounty hunters come to execute her for treason. She asks Spawn to kill her so she'll go to heaven after an honorable death, or else she'll go to hell, and after a long hesitation, Spawn finally agrees. I still don't buy her sudden reversal. She seemed very committed to her cause for a long time, and she risks execution because a Hellspawn shows mercy. It makes sense that she wouldn't kill him right away when she first witnesses this, but then she saves his life and kisses him, knowing what her fate will be. Her last words are, "no regrets." The ideas are interesting, I just think the events came too quickly to be totally believable. Jade serves justice before she serves heaven, so she helps Spawn and rejects heaven no matter the cost because it's the right thing to do. I like that all the actions here have consequences. It isn't just that doing the right thing always leads to rainbows and butterflies. It's the sacrifice worth making versus the bad things that come from doing more bad things. Again, doing the right thing often means hard personal sacrifice right then. You often won't pay for making the wrong choice until later because, at the time, it's easy. We see that with Chief Banks, who got away with attempted homicide and has been avoiding the consequences ever since. Twitch remembers just enough of his shooting that he and Sam put together that Banks did it, and in that scene, Sam finally seems like a detective worth his salt. I am really impressed with how Twitch's injuries and blood feud are mixed with his and Sam's investigation into Banks in the comics. By making his crime shooting Twitch instead of conspiring with Kincaid, their quest to bring him down is a personal one, and it becomes a story about justice versus corruption, mirroring the heaven versus hell story. Jade doesn't want to be part of something that masquerades as good but is no better than its enemies, so she sacrifices herself for the greater good, hoping Spawn will prove that right is right regardless of labels and banners. Paralleling that is Banks, who also sacrifices himself, but not for honor or justice, but because he's been caught by Sam and Twitch, having committed atrocities while wearing the badge of the law. Sam actually tells him to shoot himself now that the word is about to get out about his and Wynn's conspiracy, saying if you don't do it, Wynn will, and he won't be so quick about it. Banks kills himself in the comics too, but here it means something. It isn't heaven or hell, the police, or the criminals who ultimately win out, it's always justice. Banks can't escape from that any more than Spawn can. And just before that, Twitch has maybe the best line John Leakley wrote in his episodes. "All I wanted to do was arrest the bad guys. Going up in the ranks, I admired you. What do I do now? You're the bad guy." All Banks seems to regret is getting caught. He's a pretty standard, static, corrupt cop, but Sam and Twitch come alive as they go up against him. I also love the irony that Wynn is pretty much finished at the NSC, and his plan to take supernatural power literally blew up in his face, so he probably wouldn't have had Banks killed if he didn't pull the trigger. Good stories are all about clear motivations, which is what the show has over the comics in spades. What does a character want? What do they do in the pursuit of it? And how does getting or not getting what they want affect them? We enter a new, exciting territory at the end when Spawn's goals very believably change from "I want my life back" to "I want my humanity back." What a profound distinction. No more fitting line of dialogue has ever finished out a season of television. I care about Spawn now in a way I never thought I could, and I'll be awaiting the next episode with bated breath. Signed, Captain Logan.
Captain Logan! Quite a predicament you found yourself in.